What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone, and welcome back to a preview. It's been a week. It's been a while. Not counting obviously the international break, but it's been a while that we only played one game a week. Some of you might say good because it's not a good watch. On top of that, the results are not going our way, and with our way I mean winning. We're not winning games right now, so maybe it was good to have a week off. With all the quote unquote bad performances. Let me call it bad performances and bad results as well. All the injury talks and so on. So maybe it's good that we had a week away from whatever the last couple of weeks were. But we're back, and we are back with Bologna. A special game for Motta, probably not for the fan base. It's Bologna, like it's a game like any other game in the league. But for Motta, it's gonna be tough. Probably it's gonna be a special game for him. A game he definitely wants to win, and we definitely need to win. Like the title of the show is a win. I'm one of these people where I've always said that I need a win to also tell me something, for the grand scheme of things. But we're in a situation right now where we desperately need a win. If it's a good win, a clean win, an ugly win, and a win we do not deserve, we just need a win at this moment in time if you want to keep up pace with whatever your set goal is, your personal set goal is for this team. We just need a win, like I said, because we've played good and we didn't win. We've played bad and we didn't win. We've played good teams, we didn't win. We've played poor teams and we didn't win. So, like, there's no formula, there's no right ingredient for this club right now, for this group of players, whatever you want to call it, for a win. It's just win at this moment in time, and ahead of that Man City game, who I think they lost like 5 games in a row until they won this, I don't know, Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever they beat Forest, I think it is, and we played them on Monday. No, we played them on the weekend, at home, and that's also a massive game, Champions League, because the group is, despite everybody thinking we are just gonna make it by default, it's not set in stone, because you're gonna play Benfica, who are picking up steam. You're gonna play Bruges on a very small pitch, a potato pitch, who are not easy to beat at home as well. So it's gonna be a pressure week for us, and it starts with Bologna. That's why I said a win is a win. I don't really care how we win. We will talk about the performance, obviously, but the main point tomorrow is a win. Funnily enough, before Motta did his presser, I was looking up some stats of Bologna, or just comparing some stats of Bologna compared to us, and we are ahead of many things, as it should be, obviously, because we're comparing Bologna to us, and you should be ahead. But the one thing that popped up was the counterattacking, how efficient it was compared to ours, like how Bologna's counterattacking, how efficient it is compared to us. And that's what Motta had to say as well as on his presser. Obviously said it's a good team, he's not gonna slate any team. He's definitely not going to do that with Bologna. He said they play direct game and press a lot. We'll have to focus on avoiding suffering a result of their intensity. They press a lot, and not just to say a lot, they press very well. That's what stood out when I was comparing some of the stats. Compared to us is actually day and night. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably what we want to be in that regard, in that pressing thing, whatever you want to call it. Bologna are head and shoulders above us regarding the pressing, and that's obviously a concern, because we want to be that team. I think that's obvious that we want to be that team. And lately, like at the beginning of the season, I was like, come and press us. That's good. If you press us, we play better. Lately, I have a feeling that if a team presses us, we are lost. We are getting lost because we do not find the solutions we probably found earlier on in the season, because we are set up a bit lower compared to the start of the season, and we're not handling the press very well. And Bologna, they have nothing to lose. They will come to the stadium, they will press us, and they will try to play their game. And what hasn't worked for us the last couple of weeks needs to work. Like technically, the last couple of weeks wasn't good. You know, I think we were very sloppy in in many instances. Excuse me, without pressure. You know, I remember the game we played against Lecce. Even in the first half, they were not pressing us. We were losing possession way too often, and that was a team that was just there basically. And Bologna are not just there; they will come and they will press you. And if you play a technically poor game again, it will cost you because you will lose possession high up the pitch and they will kill you. Lately, they will kill you because Bologna, where we were, are, excuse me, at the start of the season. I think they like, I don't know how many games into the season, but I think they're like 1 win and 5 draws, you know. But lately, they're winning games. And let me look it up really quickly because they only lost in the league. They only lost twice on the season as well, which is not a lot. But they won in the league against Cagliari. They beat Lecce. Then they went to the Champions League. They lost. They beat Roma. They lost to Lazio. They went into the Champions League. They lost to Lille. They beat Venezia and they beat Bologna. At the start of the season, they were drawing a lot of games and they were not really scoring enough for what they were creating. Now they kind of flipped that switch. They are scoring a lot of goals and they are winning games. Like Bologna, they're not far off us as well. I think it's like 5 points or something like that. They're not far off us, and I think they have a game in hand as well. So they're up there just because they're playing well, and we only won one more game than Bologna. Again, they have a game in hand, and we only won one more game compared to Bologna. That's not good. I think everybody knows that's not good. But that's also me telling you they're close. Like, it's not that big of a difference compared to all the others, basically. It's not that big of a difference, you know? That we need to acknowledge as well. You know, they are closer. They are getting closer, excuse me. They are getting closer to us right now. I was looking at something else. Let me see. Okay. No, that was that. So that's that. Obviously, that's the things we need to look forward to or look out for when we're playing Bologna tomorrow. But let's move on. He talked about the criticism, which is normal. Like, if you're a coach at Juve, or a player, or anything, like just an employee of Juve, you will be put under pressure. There will be criticism because you're a top club and you expect, like everybody expect you to perform. You know, no matter the circumstances, like there's different levels of pressure, but there's always pressure. Like there's always pressure, and if you're good enough, you will thrive. That's it. Like I've said it many times, even when it comes to Yildiz with number 10s and shirt numbers, I've said it many times. If you're good enough, forget about it. You will survive. If you don't survive, it means you're just not good enough. It has nothing to do with pressure, excuse me. Just in general, you're not made for the top, period. You know, that's how I look at many of these things, basically. So he said, I don't want to take notice of what goes on around us and the opinions about us. I only focus on the pitch, regardless of what is being said. Is it right or not? I accept everybody's opinion and move on, working what I can work on. That's it. Like, that's basically, like, the only thing, like, the only person or persons, whatever, who can fix our current situations are two. One is the players, obviously. 2 is Motta, and 3 is Giuntoli by adding help in January. That is not possible because it's not January, so it goes back to Motta and the group. Like, we can have our say, and we do, you know, play quote minors in the 8, like Yildiz come inside, let him play as a number 10, whatever, you know. All these, we can say these things, but at the end of the day, it's Motta who's going to need to make that decision. Is he going to move position? Is he going to rotate players in a different position? You know, coming out saying that, yeah, I know Colt Miners is not playing well in that position, but right now it is what it is. Like, only Motta can make those changes, not we. So we can say that, and like, he take notice. Like, if you watch his pressers, he writes everything down. Like, he actually writes everything down. And funnily enough, today, I think a journalist, was it from the Corriere? And it wasn't the Corriere. I'm not even sure. Well, probably Repubblica or Il Giornale, one of the two, asked about, you know, how are you gonna how are the Bologna fans are they gonna appreciate you? How are they gonna, you know, look at you tomorrow at the stadium because you didn't left on a high? And he said, hold on, I don't know anything about that. He writes everything down, so he knows what's being written about him. He knows what people are saying, what the media is saying, what fans are saying. Like, he knows that very much, which is good, I guess. But he cannot be distracted by that. Like, we can say do this, this, and this. At the end of the day, he's the coach. He's gonna need to make the decision. His decisions are gonna make him fail or succeed. Right now, it's neither. You know, it's just causing us some problems, I guess. But bet your money on it. He knows all the talk about Koopmeiners is not playing well. He's not playing well in that position. Hill is not being effective. Like, he knows all these things. He admittedly talked about it in his presser, you know. So, he said we're coming into this off the back of a string of games that we haven't won, even with good performances at times, while on others we needed to be better. We can't just focus on one phase of the game. We share responsibility for everything. Everybody contributes together. He's a coach who will never throw his players under the bus ever. He said with good performances at time, I don't like we keep the ball well. Like, we talked about it many times, but the goal of the sport at the end of the day is win games, and you win games by scoring goals. And we're not doing that, you know. So you can keep the ball well, you can control games, you can play between the lines, all those things. At the end of the day, if you're not scoring goals, which doesn't result in winning games, it's not good enough. And everybody knows it's not good enough up top. Like, we shouldn't be kidding ourselves. Everybody knows that. He came out and he said it's not good enough up top, you know. So we need wins. That's what I said. You know, if we win tomorrow with a set piece at the end of the day, I think that will do much more than a very good performance and yet another 0-0 ahead of that City game. You know, I that's how I look at it. We just need a win tomorrow. I don't think many people care how we do it. You know, just win. That's how I'm looking at it. And how are you gonna win with no squad basically available? No, excuse me. Savona's back, and Vlahovic is back as well. Savona, Vlahovic is back, and somebody else. Why am I blanking out? Who is injured? Vlahovic was back. Savona was back. I'm missing somebody, and I'm Atsic, but you know, he's a non-factor so far. But Vlahovic is back, and Savona is back. Two starters for Motta. That's clear. Obviously, they're back. In which capacity? James, excuse me. I'll talk about the predicted lineup after this one as well. But he was asked about the injuries because Douglas Luiz is not back, McKennie is not back, Gonzalez is not back, excuse me. And the worrying part is nobody even knows when they'll come back. Like, I'm not even asking for an exact date, just an estimation. There is nothing, you know. So we said we hope to have Nico and Douglas back as soon as possible. We'll see what happens. It's not my job to judge my work. I'm focused on moving us in the right direction. I'll leave the rest to you. All on the injuries, I don't believe in good or bad luck. I have my opinion, and you do too. I won't change my point of view. I'll pay attention to everything I can to improve, as always looking to maintain the highest possible level. Like, the injuries are not on him, you would think. If the training sessions are a problem, we don't know. Like, we can assume things right now. I think it's more about the recovery time. Like, I don't know what's going wrong, but the players are not recovering quickly enough. If you compare it to other teams and players with the same injuries, it's way too long. Like, it's just taking way too much time, and it's costing us. It's costing the current players. It's costing the results. It's costing Motta. And you can have an opinion, like he said, and he will keep it for himself. Let's hope he doesn't keep him for himself, and he tells him to Giuntoli and the club, because something is not right. You know, like I said, and I did my video on it, Nico Gonzalez, there's no update. He was almost back, you know, when it was Lille, pre-Lille. And he's gone. He's not even been touching grass at this moment in time, and there's nothing. So is there a setback? Let people know, because this is ridiculous for a thigh problem. Douglas Luiz and muscle fatigue. It's been a month. Like, that's insane. Like, that's just absolutely insane. And that he can remain calm about it in front of the media, cool. But behind the media, I mean, he should be losing his mind because this is not normal. And actually, if he's like, "Hey, the medical staff, that's not my thing," it's gonna cost you. If it keeps this pace with injuries and recovery time, it's gonna cost you massively. It's gonna cost you big time. Points, everything, your reputation, like everything. Because you do not have enough fit players. You don't. You're looking at the bench and you have Mbangula and Rui on the bench. And Fajoli, whose head is gone and you do not trust at this moment in time. So you should be caring about the injuries, obviously. But you're not? Cool. It's going to cost you long term. So hopefully behind closed doors, he is actually vocal about it. Because something is not right. Something is definitely off. And we will probably know only when it's too late. But yeah. Let's move on to the starting 11. There are some contradictions about the starting 11. I've seen two different lineups with the same things and one thing differently. So, in goal, Di Gregorio. Back four, Gatti, Kalulu, Danilo, Cambiaso. Everywhere I watch, is it Romeo, Giovanni Albanese, if you say you trust him or not, Sky, they're all saying Savona's not starting. So it's the same back four. We started away to Lecce, only we switch it up, minute 70. We moved, I think, Danilo to center back, and that was a disaster. Then the midfield remains the same. Locatelli, Koopmeiners, Thuram. Vlahovic gets a start, according to every source. Weah and Yildiz. Now, the twist is, I've also seen Yildiz on the bench with Weah replacing him and Conceição was starting. So it could be, I think Weah's going to start. So I also have a feeling Yildiz will get benched tomorrow. That's the lineup. The lineup picks himself. You can say, oh, I'm going to start Conceição instead. That's the one player you can play with, I guess, because I don't think Savona is 100% fit, nor do I think Vlahovic is 100% fit. However, he's tipped to start, that team should be beating Bologna. That team should be beating Lecce, Empoli, Cagliari, Roma at home. It should, but we haven't. We haven't beaten those teams. So, we need a win, obviously. That speaks for itself. And that team is good enough. And that's not really the issue. The issue is that up front, the moment we get to where Vlahovic is standing in that drawing, it all shuts down. It's all robotic. It's all get it out to the white players and let them do their magic, and it's just not good enough. You're not putting pressure on any teams. You're not catching them, by surprise. I think it's very easy to defend us at this moment in time. It's just stand off, and if the wingers come in, try to close them down, and if not, let them whip them cross, and there's nobody in the box. It's very easy to play us right now, and by the looks of it, he's not going to change it. He's just going to hold firm to Koopmeiners down the middle and Yildiz if he starts, if not Weah, who is probably a bigger worry in my opinion, because he's very ineffective as well as a player on that wing, and we rely on our wing play. And if you have a player like Weah out there who is just ineffective on the wing, it is, and it makes it even worse for us. It stifles us even worse because he slows down play way too much. Or at least with Yildiz and Conceição, they try to come inside and make something happen. Is it a cross? Is it a shot? Whatever. They at least try it. With Timothy Weah, it's very robotic. It's very basic. So that might be a worry. But that team should be good enough to beat Bologna. Bologna will come at us. They will try to press us from the first minute until the final minute. That's how they, I think, will approach us. And it's up to us to see how we will enter that game. Will we go for it? Will we play it safe and try to nick it, and see out the game, which is not wise, I think, because it's not working lately for us. Only time will tell, but that's the predicted lineup. My prediction, I don't have a good feeling with it again, but I'm going to go 1-0. I will go with a 1-0 win. Probably Vlahovic will get the goal, but I'm not there's nothing to be really the latest results and the latest performances. They're not a confidence booster at all. Actually they're worrying. And if you just look at those last performances, you should be saying, well, we're not going to win this game as well. But we need it. We desperately need it, for confidence, for the table, if people are worrying about that right now, but especially ahead of City. So 1-0 is my prediction. Hopefully it's better, but right now I just need a win. I just need a win, and I don't really care how it comes. But yeah, people, that's my preview. That's my prediction. I like the video. If you haven't, we are the definition of living off my father's name, kinda. I'm not gonna lie. He's a good guy. Like, I'm not saying that, and he has some qualities, but I don't think he can use him. Like, he doesn't use him as much as he should, nor does anyone know, I think, how to unlock that potential talent he has. But yeah, that's it for me. Hit the like button. Let me know in the comments what you think. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back tomorrow post game or the reaction, and then Sunday live show, and then it's build up to Man City. But yeah, that's it for me, people. Have a good evening or morning for some of you.